The next time you're at a family gathering and somebody brings up politics, before you start arguing about that, drop this bombshell instead. Did you know that strawberries are not berries, but cucumbers are? People will fight hard about this stuff because it flies in the face of everything they think they know, it messes with their cognitive biases, and it completely shatters their worldview. And I get it. Those words mean one thing in everyday life, but they mean something completely different in botany. So today we're going to break it all down using real cross sections, definitions, and maybe a few existential crises.
And our mouths. And our bellies. Strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, cucumber, tomato, berries.
Let's start with the most common betrayal. Strawberries, blackberries, and raspberries are not berries.
Are not berries.
But tomatoes, cucumbers, bananas, and squash are. Yeah, let that sink in. So what is a berry? Botanically speaking, a berry is a simple fruit that develops from a single ovary, and it has an outer skin called an exocarp, a central fleshy bit called a mesocarp, and an inner part that holds the seeds called an endocarp. Together, all of these are called the pericarp. And the seeds have to be embedded inside the fruit.
So technically, this is not a berry.
If we slice open the tomato, we have the outer skin called the exocarp, the fleshy stuff in the middle called the mesocarp, and the center where the seeds are embedded called the endocarp. The whole thing together, all the flesh, is called the pericarp. So now, Lily, can you find the outer exocarp?
This part?
Yes, the skin. Can you find the mesocarp? Fleshy center, right? Fleshy middle. And can you find the endocarp? Yeah. And do you see those little tiny seeds inside?
Mm-hmm.
Those little dots are the seeds embedded inside the fruit. So a blueberry is a berry.
Oh.
Nom, 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 nom. Where's the exocarp?
Right here.
Where's the mesocarp?
Right here.
And where's the endocarp? And are those the seeds?
Yes.
Embedded inside the fruit?
Yes.
So is a cucumber a berry?
Exactly.
It sure is.
Here's a seed.
Want some tomato?
Mm.
Let's do a banana. Where's the exocarp? Big, thick skin,
Big,
right?
thick stuff.
Yeah. Where's the mesocarp? And where's the endocarp?
Here.
Right there. And are there seeds in there?
Yeah, they're like little black dots.
Yeah, there are seeds in a banana, but the type of banana that we eat is a sterile variety where the seeds are almost non-existent. So, like, you could try to plant this, but it really wouldn't turn into much. So by that definition, a cucumber is a berry, a tomato is a berry, a banana is a berry, an eggplant is a berry.
A watermelon is a berry.
But
A special kind, though.
but strawberries and raspberries are not.
No, sir.
So the next time you get in an argument about a tomato being a fruit versus a vegetable, you can say, not only is it a fruit, it's a berry, and you'll be correct. So if strawberries aren't berries, what are they? They're actually a type of fruit called an aggregate fruit, which form from multiple ovaries in a single flower. Each one of these little seeds on the outside are actually tiny individual fruits, and the thing we eat is just the swollen receptacle that holds them. And raspberries and blackberries, those are also aggregate fruits, but each tiny section you see is a druplet, meaning every little bump is its own tiny stone fruit, which we'll come back to in a minute. Not bad for February. Thank you, Mexico and South America, for being able to grow this stuff in the winter.
The watermelon. Drum
Stone fruits.
Woo!
Speaking of stone fruits, let's talk about drupes.
Drupes.
Peaches, cherries, olives, mangoes, these are all drupes, which means they have a fleshy exterior and a hard, stony pit inside that protects the seed. But remember how raspberries and blackberries are technically clusters of tiny little drupes? So in a way, every raspberry is a bunch of tiny little cherries stuck together. Weird, right? Cashews are also drupes, but we eat the stony pit from the inside more often than we do the cashew apple on the outside. If apples aren't berries, and they aren't drupes, what are they? Apples belong to a category called pomes, which are fruits that develop from an inferior ovary and have a core surrounded by fleshy tissue. That means that most of the apple we eat isn't actually part of the ovary, it's just a swollen part of the flower structure. The real fruit is the core. That's why apple seeds are tucked away so neatly in the middle. All right, now let's really make some people mad.
Oh yeah, these are.
Hold on, we'll get there. What do you think corn is? A vegetable? A grain? Something that gets stuck in your teeth? Well, technically, it's a fruit. Corn is a caryopsis, a type of fruit where the seed coat and the ovary wall are fused together. Every single kernel on a cob is its own individual fruit. And peas? Also fruit. Peas are legumes, which means they develop from a single ovary and split open when mature. That means every time you snap open a sugar snap pea, you're literally opening up a fruit and pulling out the seeds. Can't read it. It is. There's peas in a pod. They're like best friends. And then we eat them. And they're delicious.
Stop destroying my friendship. Isn't that so cute? It's like a little pop-up book.
The main source of this confusion comes from the difference between the botanical definitions of different types of fruits and vegetables and different parts of the anatomy of plants versus the culinary definition. The culinary definitions are simply that a vegetable is served with dinner and a fruit is served with dessert. The problem with this is it's very subjective, because what if you have an apple walnut salad? Or a strawberry walnut salad? Are the apples and the strawberries in your dinner salad suddenly vegetables? And what about a rhubarb pie? Does that make the rhubarb a fruit? No. So that's the problem with the culinary definitions, is that they are completely subjective based on how you're using the different parts of the plant, whereas botanical definitions have to do with the anatomy and they do not change. Pepos, specialized berries.
Examples: watermelons, cucumbers, pumpkins, squash.
Watermelon, pumpkins,
Cucumber.
squash, cucumbers, all kinds of things in that realm.
This actually kind of looks like a ginormous fat cucumber.
They're structured about the same. Do you see an exocarp? Do you see a mesocarp?
Yes.
And do you see an endocarp?
Yes.
And are the seeds
Yes.
embedded inside? Why they're cool. Pepos are technically berries, but with a hard, thick rind instead of a soft skin like a blueberry. Hesperidiums, citrus fruits, a type of berry. Examples:
Oranges, lemons, limes, grapefruits.
and why they are cool. These are still berries, but they have a leathery rind and a juicy interior divided into segments. Schizocarps, or splitting fruits. Examples of this are the fruits of carrots, celery, dill, and fennel. Their seeds are actually fruits. Why they are cool. Schizocarps split into individual seed-bearing sections when mature. Samaras, or winged fruits. These are things like the maple seeds, like the little helicopter whirligigs that fall off the maple trees in the fall. Also, ash and elm tree seeds are samaras. Why they're cool? These fruits have wing-like structures to help them fly away from the parent tree. This way, the new babies are not shaded out by their parent, and the parent does not create its own competition. Nuts. True nuts versus imposters. Examples of true nuts are acorns and hazelnuts, but not peanuts, which are legumes, or almonds and cashews, which are drupes.
Peanuts.
What are peanuts? Roots. But they are also seeds, but they're born from the roots. Why they're cool. A true nut is a dry fruit with a hard shell that doesn't split open on its own. Capsules, dry fruits that split open. Examples: poppies, cotton, lilies. You're a capsule.
It makes me feel like a
Your
cactus.
seeds would be a capsule.
That makes me feel like a cactus.
Oh, cacti, we're coming up to those. You make a mess, you clean it up.
How? What?
Why they're cool, capsules split open in different ways to release their seeds. Multiple fruit. Examples: pineapple. Why it's cool? Pineapple is a multiple fruit, meaning it forms from many flowers fused together rather than a single ovary. Syconiums.
Yeah.
Figs. The weirdest fruit ever. Why they're cool? Figs are actually an inverted flower structure with multiple tiny fruits inside. We're actually eating the flower. You know what else is cool about figs? They only have one pollinator, and it's a tiny little wasp that crawls up into the fig flower to pollinate it.
That's not a berry.
That's not a berry. This is a flower. It's an inverted flower. Pop quiz! Now that you know so many different kinds of fruit, let's test. What do you think a grape is? Well, if we cut open the grape, you're going to see a skin, the exocarp, a fleshy middle, the mesocarp, and the seeds in the center, within the endocarp. Grapes are a cluster of individual berries. What about an avocado?
No berry.
It's not a berry?
No.
Why not?
Because it doesn't have a seed in it. It has a pit.
It has a pit.
A pit.
A giant stone. So if it's a stone, would it be a stone fruit? So an avocado is a drupe. Next one. What about a dragon fruit? She likes dragon fruits. Maybe a little too much. Down with you! Down! Down! What do you think it is?
Berry.
Why?
Because the seeds are surrounding in a fleshy coating.
It has an exocarp, a really cool looking exocarp. It has a fleshy mesocarp right underneath the skin, and it has a big, also fleshy endocarp where all those seeds are stored. Most cacti produce either berries or capsules, depending on the species. Examples of cacti that produce true berries are the dragon fruit in the Hylocereus genus, prickly pear in the Umpuntia genus, or the Peruvian apple cactus in the Cereus such as the Cereus repandus.
Trying to study.
These fruits develop from a single ovary. They have fleshy pulp and contain seeds inside, meeting all the berry criteria. Some smaller cacti, like Echinopsis and Furocactus, produce dry capsules that split open. These produce dry, pod-like fruits that split open to release their seeds rather than being eaten by animals.
What?
What?
What were you just talking about?
What's the point of fruits? Why do plants put all this energy into making these?
It's like for their health.
For plants' health?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good learning opportunity. Look at the camera and say, the plants spend a lot of energy to make fruits.
They take the sun's energy.
Yeah, but they have to make that energy. The plant puts a lot of energy. Yes, they get their energy from the sun and the water, but they have to collect and make all that energy, right? Okay. Why did the grape put so much energy into making this? Why didn't it just make seeds?
I don't know.
Okay.
It was being lazy.
The plants are being lazy by putting all kinds of energy into making fruit.
The plant doesn't want to be lazy.
You ready for your mind to be blown? The plant makes fruit so that an animal like us will eat the fruit and carry the seeds somewhere else. If the plant just made seeds and dropped all the seeds right under itself, it would grow with
my children.
it would grow with all of its children right next to it, and they would crowd each other out, and then they would all suffocate and die. Some plants just make seeds, and they have their own ways of dispersing their seeds. Do you want some grapes?
Yeah.
If you're watching a video like this, then you're probably really into nerdy plant stuff. So I just want to say a quick word about the shirts we're wearing. My shirt has a showy milkweed on it that has a rhizomous root, and it says mother at the bottom. The children's shirts also have a showy milkweed with a rhizomous root, and they say daughter underneath because this is a technical term. Any plants that are connected by rhizomous roots, the original plant is called the mother, and any other connected younger plants are called the daughters. So this is a mother-daughter set, and if you'd like one, check out my Etsy store linked in the description below. These are available on my Etsy store, along with a couple other cool shirts, and several seeds that I've collected from my garden. It's linked in the description below, or you can go to etsy.com/shops/gardenupseedshop. Order yours today.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by hitting the like button. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment down below. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do that so that you'll get more gardening content in your video feed every week. Thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you in the garden.